I'm 79 years old. I don't say that for sympathy. I say it because when you reach this age, the truth stops feeling optional. I'm sitting alone in a quiet house as I record this. The kind of quiet you don't notice when you're young because you're never still long enough. At this age, quiet has weight. It presses on your chest. It reminds you how much has already happened and how little is left. I spent most of my life chasing the wrong things. And the worst part is, I didn't know it while I was doing it. I thought I was being responsible. I thought I was doing what I was supposed to do. I thought there would be time later to fix whatever I was neglecting. There wasn't. At 79, you don't think in years anymore. You think in seasons, maybe a handful of them. You start measuring life by what you won't get to see again. You don't panic about it. It's quieter than that, more settled, but it's heavy. I'm not telling this story to feel better about myself. That ship sailed a long time ago. I'm telling it because if someone had sat me down when I was younger and spoken to me this plainly, I might have lived differently, or at least noticed what I was trading away. When I was in my 20s, I didn't feel like I was chasing anything unreasonable. I wasn't trying to be rich or famous. I wanted stability. I wanted to be seen as capable. I wanted to prove that I could build a life that looked solid from the outside. I grew up in a home where security was never guaranteed. My parents worried constantly. Bills, repairs, the future. That kind of worry sinks into you. It teaches you that peace. I had relationships, some meaningful, some shallow. I told myself there would be time to deepen them later. I skipped dinners because of deadlines. I postponed trips because the timing wasn't right. I made promises that sounded sincere at the moment and then quietly broke them by being unavailable. People were patient with me at first. Then they adjusted. Then they stopped asking. I didn't notice when that happened. Most people don't. Relationships don't usually end with dramatic exits. They fade through small disappointments, through unanswered calls, through moments where you choose something else without realizing what you're choosing instead. I remember specific days now that meant nothing to me at the time. A birthday I missed because I was too busy. A conversation I rushed because I had somewhere else to be. A Sunday afternoon I spent worrying about Monday instead of sitting with someone who wanted nothing more than my attention. At the time, it all felt reasonable. That's the danger of it. The wrong choices rarely feel wrong when you're making them. In my 40s, I had what most people would call success, a steady income, respect at work, a routine that made sense. From the outside, my life looked organized, predictable, safe. Inside, something had gone quiet. I didn't notice it right away. It wasn't sadness. It was more like absence, like a room in the house of my life that I stopped walking into. I filled my days with tasks. I measured my worth by productivity. If I was tired at the end of the day, I told myself I had earned rest. But rest isn't the same as connection, and exhaustion can hide loneliness very well. People my age talked about dreams. I talked about responsibilities. I thought that made me mature. I thought that meant I had my priorities straight. I didn't realize I was postponing joy the same way you postpone an appointment you don't really want to attend, telling yourself you'll reschedule later. Later kept moving. The costs didn't arrive all at once. They never do. They came quietly. A friend who stopped calling. A relationship that cooled into politeness. A family gathering that felt slightly awkward because I hadn't been around enough to stay familiar. I told myself that was normal, that life just does that. That closeness fades with age. Some of it does. Some of it doesn't have to. There were moments when I could have noticed. Small warnings. A look on someone's face when I checked my watch during a conversation. A pause after I said, "Let's do this another time." The sound of disappointment people try to hide because they don't want to feel needy. I didn't mean to hurt anyone, that's the truth. But intent doesn't undo impact, and time doesn't rewind to let you respond differently once you understand. The turning point, if you can call it that, wasn't dramatic. It wasn't some grand collapse. It was a phone call. Someone I had loved deeply, in a quiet, neglected way, was gone. An illness I hadn't taken seriously because I assumed there would be more updates, more chances to visit, more time to say what I hadn't said yet. I remember sitting down after the call and realizing there was nothing left to schedule, no future version of myself who would finally show up no later. Just an empty space where a relationship should have continued. Grief at my age doesn't scream. It sits with you. It follows you from room to room. It shows up when you do ordinary things and suddenly remember you'll never do them with that person again. That was when clarity arrived, not like a revelation, more like a settling dust. I could see my life clearly for the first time, and it was too late to change most of it. I hadn't failed. That's important to say. I had succeeded at what I aimed for. I just aimed too narrowly. There are things you cannot fix once time has passed, conversations you cannot reopen, apologies that arrive after they're needed, love that grows tired of waiting. At 79, you don't fantasize about second chances. You inventory what's left. You count the people who still know your voice well enough to recognize your mood. You notice how few of them there are. I used to think being remembered meant being admired. Now I know it means being missed, and those are not the same thing. Some people remember me as reliable, some as competent, a few as distant, very few as deeply present. That realization doesn't crush you. It humbles you. There's a particular loneliness that comes from knowing you were always almost there, almost attentive, almost available, almost connected. You can't go back and choose presence over preparation. You can't retrieve the hours you spent worrying about things that resolved themselves anyway. You can't relive the ordinary days that turned out to be the important ones. What remains is acceptance, not peace, acceptance. If you're listening to this and you're younger than I am, I won't tell you what to do. I don't believe in instructions from people at the end of the road. Life doesn't listen that way, but I will tell you what I wish I had understood. I wish I had known that time feels abundant right until it doesn't, that people stop waiting quietly, not angrily, that the things you delay in the name of responsibility are often the very things that make responsibility worthwhile. I wish I had known that being busy is not the same as being needed, that productivity can become a hiding place, that you can spend decades building a life and still forget to live inside it. If this story meant something to you, sit with that feeling for a moment. Don't rush past it. You don't need to act. Just notice. I don't have much time left. I know that now. I spend it differently. I listen more slowly. I say what I mean. I accept the quiet when it comes. This is me telling the truth at the end of my life. Not to warn you. Not to scare you. Just to leave it here, honestly. That's all. After I said, "That's all," I sat there longer than I expected, because When you reach my age, endings don't feel clean. They echo. I thought about turning this off and pretending I'd said everything that mattered. But the truth is, when you finally allow yourself to be honest, more memories surface. Not dramatic ones, small, ordinary ones. The kind that didn't seem important when they were happening. I remember mornings when I rushed through breakfast without tasting it, already thinking about the day ahead. Someone would be sitting across from me, trying to tell me something simple. Nothing urgent, nothing that felt historic. And I'd nod, half listening, convinced there would be another morning just like it. There wasn't. I remember evenings when the house was loud with life, and I chose paperwork, or planning, or silence instead. I told myself I needed to recharge. What I was really doing was postponing presence. I didn't know that presence doesn't wait forever. People age quietly around you when you're busy. Their voices change, their patience thins, their expectations lower. One day you look up and realize the version of them you remember doesn't exist anymore. That realization hits late, much later than it should. I used to believe that as long as I cared internally, it counted. That intention mattered more than action. That people could feel my concern even if I wasn't there. They couldn't. Caring that isn't expressed eventually feels like indifference to the people waiting for it. And once they adjust to that absence, they don't always come back when you're finally ready. At my age, memory becomes selective. Not because you want it to be, but because your mind starts holding on to what feels unfinished. Regrets replay themselves more faithfully than successes. I can list my achievements if I try. They're real. They mattered at the time. But they don't visit me at night. They don't sit beside me when the house is quiet. They don't soften the loneliness. What visits me are faces, voices, moments I brushed past because I was sure I'd circle back. I didn't understand that life doesn't keep score the way we think it does. It doesn't reward efficiency with fulfillment. It doesn't compensate you later for moments you skip now. It just keeps moving. There's a particular ache that comes from realizing you were trusted with time and treated it like it was infinite. That you believed postponement was harmless. That you assumed the people in your life would always be there, unchanged, waiting patiently. They weren't. Some grew tired, some grew distant, some left this world entirely, and all of them took their versions of me with them, versions I can never recover or correct. Old age strips away the illusion of control. You see clearly how little you actually managed, how much happened without your permission, how many chances passed quietly. I don't wake up angry. I wake up reflective. I wake up aware that every day I have now is borrowed time, not in a dramatic way, just in a factual one. I sit longer with conversations. I don't interrupt as much. I let silence exist without trying to fill it. These are small corrections made too late to change the overall shape of my life, but early enough to matter in what remains. Sometimes, I imagine my younger self sitting across from me, restless, confident, certain there would always be another opportunity. I don't lecture him. I just watch him rush. I recognize the fear underneath it, the need to prove something before slowing down. I wish I had known that slowing down isn't quitting, that paying attention isn't falling behind, that showing up imperfectly is better than postponing endlessly. If you're listening and you feel a quiet discomfort, don't push it away. That feeling isn't guilt, it's awareness. It doesn't ask for dramatic change. It just asks you to notice where your life is actually happening. Because one day, much sooner than you think, you'll realize the present you kept delaying has already turned into memory. I don't regret my entire life. That would be dishonest. There were good years, meaningful moments, laughter I still remember clearly. But regret doesn't require total failure. It grows in the spaces where something could have been deeper and wasn't. I'm not afraid of dying. I'm afraid of being reduced to a summary, a list of roles, a vague impression. I wanted to be remembered as someone who was there, fully, attentively. Some people will remember me that way, not enough. Now, as my days grow quieter, I try to be gentle with myself. I accept that understanding often arrives late. I accept that some lessons are learned only after they can no longer be applied widely. This isn't a warning, it's a reflection left behind. If this stays with you after you stop listening, that's enough. Let it sit beside you during ordinary moments. Those are the ones that end up mattering most. I'm 79 years old, and this is the truth I finally slowed down enough to tell.